The final blow comes when Tina is evicted from her luxurious apartment. With nowhere to go, she wanders the streets, her pride shattered and her once glamorous life now a distant memory. With no one to turn to, Tina squats with a friend, but their relationship quickly sours. After a heated argument, she is thrown out, leaving her homeless. Tina is forced to sell water on the streets, her life a shadow of what it once was. Tina continues to struggle since she couldn't find her sister. She continued to sell things in the market in order to earn a living. She wished she could see Tina soon. While Tina was living in luxury, Jane continued her hard life in the village, scraping together a living with various jobs. Though her heart was broken by Tina's rejection, she still hoped for a better future. One day in the market, Jane meets Ken, a wealthy businessman who is immediately drawn to her beauty and humility. Unlike others, Ken sees Jane's inner strength and is intrigued by her story of sacrifice. Ken begins visiting Jane regularly, developing a deep admiration for her. He is struck by her resilience and kindness, and soon offers to help her in ways she never expected. Ken offers to sponsor Jane's education, something she had long given up on. Though hesitant at first, Jane accepts his offer, realizing it's a chance to reclaim her future and build a better life. Enrolling in university, Jane is nervous but determined. Though older than her classmates, she excels in her studies, and Ken's unwavering support gives her the confidence she needs to succeed. As Jane's education progresses, so does her relationship with Ken. What began as a chance meeting in the market blossoms into a deep and loving partnership. Eventually, Ken proposes, and Jane's world is transformed. Ken and Jane's wedding is a beautiful celebration of love and perseverance. Surrounded by new friends and opportunities, Jane reflects on how far she's come since her humble beginnings. Now married and living in luxury, Jane's life is full of joy and stability. She continues her education, and Ken's love fills the void left by years of hardship. But despite her happiness, she can't stop thinking about Tina. Though her life has changed for the better, Jane's heart still aches for her sister. She wonders where Tina is and whether she's okay. Despite everything, Jane longs for a reunion. While traveling to the market with Ken, Jane spots a familiar face among the crowd. Tina, her once glamorous sister, is now selling water by the roadside. Jane's heart breaks as she realizes how far Tina has fallen. Tina's life has been reduced to misery. Homeless and struggling to survive, she sells water on the streets, a far cry from the luxurious life she once knew. Guilt and regret weigh heavily on her every day. Jane is stunned to see Tina in such a state. Without hesitation, she rushes out of the car and embraces her sister. Tina is overwhelmed with shame, unable to look Jane in the eyes. Tina breaks down in tears as Jane hugs her. She apologizes profusely, filled with guilt over how she treated her sister. But Jane's only response is to forgive her, reminding Tina that family is all that matters. Back at Jane's home, Tina struggles to accept her sister's kindness. She feels undeserving of Jane's love after everything she's done, but Jane reassures her that they can start fresh. Tina is welcomed into Jane and Ken's home, where she begins to regain her sense of self. Surrounded by love, she starts to reflect on her past mistakes and vows to make things right. Though she is now safe with Jane, Tina still struggles with guilt and regret. She finds it hard to forgive herself for abandoning the one person who loved her unconditionally. With Jane's support, Tina begins to rebuild her life. She starts helping around the house and working with Jane on charitable projects. Slowly but surely, she starts to feel like herself again. As Tina heals, she reflects on her downfall and the choices that led her to this point. She realizes how greed and selfishness destroyed her life and relationships. She regrets prioritizing wealth over the love and support of her sister, understanding now that family is irreplaceable. With time, Tina regains her confidence, Determined to rebuild her life, Tina took on a job as a cashier at a local supermarket. It was a far cry from the high-profile oil company job she once had, but it was a start. The work was hard, the pay was meager, and she often felt humiliated by her former colleagues who would occasionally come to shop. But each time she wanted to give up, she remembered Jane's sacrifices and pushed herself forward. As Tina tried to pick up the pieces of her shattered life, she couldn't help but compare herself to Jane. Jane, who had been abandoned by her, was now successful and happily married. The sting of envy gnawed at Tina's heart, but she quickly suppressed it. She knew that she had no right to feel jealous, not after what she had done. Still, the battle within her mind raged on. While Jane forgave Tina openly, she harbored silent fears. What if Tina never truly changed? What if her sister once again succumbed to her old ways and left her behind as she had before? These thoughts kept Jane awake at night, though she never voiced them. Ken, sensing her unrest, reminded her, people can change, but we must allow them the space to grow. Despite their outward harmony, tension simmered beneath the surface between the two sisters. Tina felt she was walking on eggshells, afraid to disappoint Jane again, while Jane struggled to trust her sister completely. Neither spoke of their worries, but the unspoken conflict grew heavier with each passing day. One afternoon, Tina received a call from one of her former oil company colleagues. He offered her a lucrative job with a tempting salary. It was the kind of offer Tina would have jumped at in the past, but something stopped her. Accepting the job would mean moving away from Jane and Ken. She realized that she was at a crossroads. Would she chase the glamorous life once more, or stay and rebuild her life alongside her sister? Choice of integrity. Tina took her time to think. She reflected on the hardships she had faced, the people she had hurt, and the lessons she had learned. The old Tina would have chosen wealth and status without a second thought, but now, she saw things differently. She turned down the job. For the first time in her life, she chose family over fortune. When Tina told Jane about the job offer and her decision to turn it down, Jane was speechless. This was the first real sign that Tina had changed. It wasn't about the money anymore, it was about making the right choices. Jane smiled, tears welling up in her eyes, and hugged Tina tightly. "You've grown, Tina. I'm so proud of you." Soon after, Ken introduced Tina to a colleague of his who ran a small but growing business. Impressed by Tina's experience in the corporate world, he offered her a managerial position. This time, the job was local, and it wouldn't require Tina to leave her family behind. It was the perfect opportunity to prove herself once again. Tina accepted the offer and thrived in her new role. She was no longer the person who chased after fleeting pleasures. Instead, she had found a balance between ambition and loyalty. Jane and Ken supported her every step of the way, and for the first time in years, Tina felt at peace with herself. The bond between the sisters grew stronger than ever. Jane and Tina began working together on a new project, a charity to help young girls from underprivileged backgrounds pursue their education. It was their way of giving back, of ensuring that no child would have to endure the struggles they had faced. Ken, ever the supportive husband, stood by Jane's side throughout the journey. He had always admired her strength, but now he admired her even more for her ability to forgive and move forward. Together, the three of them, Jane, Ken, and Tina, became a force for good in their community. The charity became a huge success, and people from all over the country supported their cause. Jane's story of sacrifice and Tina's story of redemption touched many hearts. They were invited to speak at events, sharing their journey of forgiveness, love, and family. With their charity thriving and their family reunited, Jane and Tina finally found peace. They had faced many trials, but in the end, love and forgiveness had won. They knew that life would always have its challenges, but as long as they had each other, they could face anything.